Joining us on the morning show is Sarah Kubiak, who is Human Development and Relationships Educator, and with the emphasis on financial education. But we're talking about the upcoming Get Real for high school students, which is coming up soon. Good morning again, Sarah. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. It was a year ago. You were here organizing Get Real. Is this your second one?
Yep, this is my second time, which means it runs way smoother this time.
How did it go the first year?
It went great. We had over 400 students, which was a lot, and a lot of the feedback we got was really awesome. Some of the students were funny, and they were like, hey, we don't write checks as much anymore, but a lot of the students said it was really great and super eye-opening for them, which was really awesome to hear, and really makes me feel like I did a good job.
I think so. How do you coordinate 400 students and the times that they come to the school?
Yeah, so it's a lot of coordinating with the schools. So this year and last year we had Ithaca, Richland Center, River Valley, and Riverdale. So for us, it really depends on how many students are coming. So Richland Center last year was our largest one. So it was then like fitting the schools who had smaller ones around those times. But yeah, it's a lot of like the teachers let us know. They're like, hey, we can come at this time. And I'm like, that sounds good. We're going to work around that.
Big jigsaw puzzle, then,
It is a big jigsaw puzzle for sure.
What age are the students that are coming to Get Real?
So they're typically sophomores or juniors. So, just getting ready to kind of hop into the world and like ready to learn about finance for sure.
Put yourself back in their place. What was the biggest eye opener for you when you came of age and you had to start looking at your own bills?
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize how much insurance costs and like how much taxes actually is. Like I remember even recently I was talking with my mom about my own taxes, like figuring out what was going on. I'm like, man, why are they still taking so much out of this? This is crazy. So I feel like even now I'm still like reckoning with a lot of the things, like understanding a budget. Like there's so many expenses that you have to pay for that like I never even thought of because my parents had paid for those kinds of things. So yeah, a lot of things.
Do you think that high school students, when they leave Get Real, will maybe appreciate their parents a little bit more?
Oh, 100%. It's really funny looking at the student feedback. A lot of them actually do say, they're like, I can't believe my parents do all of this. So yeah, I think not only an appreciation for what their parents do, but I also hope that they leave with like really secure knowledge of, okay, like I'm entering the workforce or I'm going off to school, like I have to plan for these things. And I do think this event is really helpful for helping them with that.
It is coming up on the 19th of March, and you're on the radio today talking about, maybe getting some volunteers interested.
Yeah, definitely. So it takes a lot of volunteers to run this event. Last year we had over 100 volunteers, so it's a lot of people that are needed to run this. We have lots of really cool stations. So I know this year we have law enforcement. A couple of officers have signed up to help out. We also have government. So if you're in government and you're really looking to help out the community, this is a great event. Or if you're a nurse and you're interested in helping out, that would be awesome. We also have some other stations that aren't necessarily, related to your career if you don't want to, that are like groceries, personal health, things like that. So yeah, volunteers are the way we get this program running. The students go through so many different stations, so it's really important that we have volunteers. And if you'd like to help, it really helps us out.
And how can people get involved?
Yeah, so we are doing registration online this year. So if you are looking for the link, we have our flyer posted on our Facebook page and our website at UW Extension, Richland County. Or you can call our office if you need some help signing up for the volunteering. I know the online form can be a little confusing to look at, so don't be afraid to reach out. Our phone number is 608-647-6148, and we can set you up with volunteering. We can sign you up over the phone, or we can help you find the link to sign up online.
For people that have never heard of it, so take us through, for instance, a case for a student coming through Get Real at the high school that day.
Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll come to the gymnasium and they will have picked a career, and that career will have a certain amount of money associated with it. Typically we tell students about 5 years out from high school. So it's, if you're if you want to be a doctor, you're not going to be making $200,000 right off the bat. But then you will complete your taxes. So your taxes will get taken out of your paycheck. And then we'll run through stations. So then you'll have to pay for things like housing. So you'll have to pay rent. You'll have to, open a bank account so you can process that information. You'll have to pay for insurance. You'll have to pay for a car if that's something that you need or want. And you'll have to make a lot of these decisions, right? On like figuring out, okay, so maybe I would like to get a more expensive apartment. Does that mean I can get a super expensive car? And kind of work through some of those thought processes there. But then we also have these random stations. So we have one station called Fate, which you have to draw a card. You might find some extra money on the side of the road, or you might get a random charge for something. Or our law enforcement might pull you over for, I don't know, maybe you were driving too fast and you got a ticket. So not only do you have to kind of manage the like budgeting and everything, but like what happens when you have random expenses that come up and how do you kind of mitigate that? So for students, it's a really cool opportunity for them to go through and then like have the experience of, oh gosh, I got a parking ticket. You know, what am I going to do about this? How does this impact my budget? But we also have an SOS station if you run out of money. So don't fret. You have an opportunity to kind of work it out and figure it out.
Oh, wow. So you're kind of like the loan office or the cash store or whatever if somebody runs out of money.
Yeah, and we also have, if so needed, you can apply for another job and make some extra money.
Oh.
So, and some of the students also really depends, might get assigned a family or a spouse. So then you have to budget not only yourself, but, you know, if you have 3 children and a spouse, how do you manage that kind of experience, right? So it looks different for everyone.
I think you should have an adult version. Like, I think, maybe later on in the day, just for instance, it'd be nice to go back and get another job, pretend
definitely.
job and go through. And
I think it could be really fun. That would be something really cool we could do.
Yes.
We'll keep thinking on it for next year.
It's kind of like the life-size edition of the board game of life.
No, it really is. And I think it's because you have to also like pay the things and stuff too. It feels a little bit more real, right? I feel like when you're playing the board game, sometimes you're like, it's fine. But this is like, oh my gosh, I have children. I have to figure this out.
Right. So the students don't necessarily get graded on it.
No. It's just a really awesome like experience for them to walk through and like practice these skills. So it's like, they get the experience of practicing it without the consequences of like entering the workforce and just doing it and having things happen and struggling and stuff like that.
Sure. Yes. I mean, so you don't get an F if you're a radio announcer and then you get 3 kids and those kind of things.
No, you don't get graded on that.
And you fail.
No.
Oh, it's great life lessons. You mentioned writing checks. That's probably foreign to a lot of kids.
Yeah,
isn't it?
a lot of them mention not having written a check before, which is kind of funny. I wouldn't think I'm too much older than a lot of these kids, but even I remember writing checks. But yeah, students do. We have them write a couple checks to practice it because sometimes you do still use checks, right? When I got my first apartment, I had to write a check. But we also give students the opportunity to practice using something like a debit card or a credit card and like keeping track of expenses that way. So we really want to kind of cover all the different experiences you can have because like a lot of banking is online these days, but like sometimes you do need to write a check or you understand how a check works. Like if you use an electronic check, that's still a check. So we hope it's a good experience in that way.
As a financial educator too, it's this day and age, it's probably even more challenging, isn't it, to get people kind of in the right direction?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of information online that can give conflicting advice, right? Like, so you can have one person online saying one thing, but your situation might be really specific and you need a specific kind of advice. So it's what's really cool about UW Extension and the fact that we have financial education is you can come talk to us and we can give you personalized advice, which I think is hard to come by these days. But we're also non-biased. We're research-based, so everything we talk about and everything we tell you is based on research, and it's been tested and tried. So you can really trust the information that we're giving you as a financial educator or as an institution, which I think is a really awesome thing about UW Extension.
Sometimes you go through the school of hard knocks, and sometimes that's how you learn, right?
Yeah, definitely. For sure. And sometimes you go through the school of hard knocks and you get yourself in a hole and you don't know how to get out. And we're here to help you figure out how to get out of that hole as necessary.
Little by little.
Yep, definitely.
Right. For the students at Get Real, I would guess, as an outsider, one of the biggest things they probably don't realize is how much it costs to hold that phone in their hand, right?
I know, right? It's crazy to me. I think I've taught a couple classes with students before, and not only just phones, but like even just I was talking with a couple students about like the price of cars, and they were just like baffled that cars cost that much. I was like, yeah, a lot of these things are really expensive and it's only going up from here. So I think it is kind of a wake-up call for students, oftentimes being confronted with the cost of even just housing too. Like looking at how much it is to rent an apartment is, for a lot of these students, they haven't had to think about these things. So we want to make sure they're prepared when they enter into the world so they're not surprised by how much things cost.
What are the examples of some of the occupations that the students are given at the door at Get Real?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different kinds of occupations. We've had a lot of teachers. We've had a lot of engineers of different kinds. We've had a couple doctors. Lots of different interests from lots of different students. I think really there's such a wide variety of interests that the students have. I did see one student had an interest in astrophysics, which was kind of funny to me since I have that as my background.
Oh, really? Okay. Did not know that about you.
Yeah.
That was your minor then?
That was my major back in college.
Oh, that was your major?
Yep. I double majored.
Okay. Wonderful. And now it's got to be rewarding work, I think, that you do, isn't it?
Definitely. It feels really good to see the response after the event. Obviously, the volunteers, they're super helpful. We're really appreciative of them. But also reading all the student responses is just so heartwarming. Like I feel like I tear up a little bit sometimes when I see it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we really are making a really good difference in these students' lives. And hearing back from the teachers too, they're always so excited when we start talking about Get Real and planning for it. They're like, the students really appreciate this. We really appreciate this. It's a really awesome event for the students. And yeah, it's really rewarding. And so if you look to volunteer, be ready for really rewarding feelings at the end of volunteering.
I think it could be lots of fun.
Oh, it is. It's tons of fun too. It's so interesting talking to all of these students and kind of helping them work through these, right? And so the students are so funny. It's just so fun to talk with them and kind of hear conversations from them. I take great pride and have great joy in talking to the students, and I'm sure the volunteers will too.
Is it a specific class that comes from the schools, or is it just their grade level?
It usually is students who are in like a business class or personal finance. It's really up to the discretion of the teachers. I know like Riverdale and River Valley, they are personal finance students. And I think Ithaca usually it's a business class or personal finance. So it really just depends on the school that you're coming from. You can always ask your teacher if you're interested in going and see if there's options for you to go.
Sure. And then how long does it take to get through the Get Real displays?
I think for students, it really depends on how complicated their situation is. So if you don't run into any money troubles, it might take anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. If you start running out of money, it might start taking longer, just as you kind of try to figure out how to navigate that. But on average, students take between hour and a half, 2 hours, because there's a lot of stations that they go through.
I think it probably gives them more of an appreciation for money too, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. I think even me going through and planning the event, I go, wow, yeah, I forgot how much things cost. And I think, yeah, especially for students, first time interacting with a lot of like the cost of housing or the cost of these things, thinking about how to stretch your dollar. I do think students really gain a lot of an appreciation for those kinds of things.
Now, coming from the Madison area, what's the going rate, let's say, for instance, for an apartment?
Yeah,
in
I
Madison?
think a one bedroom is probably about $1,500 these days.
Yeah.
Depending on what area you're in. Could be anywhere from $1,500 going upwards. It gets more and more expensive every day. But yeah, really expensive.
Yeah, and that's been one of the topics we've talked about on this program too, is for a younger person to think about buying property, buying a home. That's a big deal.
It is, yeah, and especially thinking about like just the cost. I think the average cost of a home in Madison is like $450,000. So it's the cost of housing has gone up significantly these days, and it. Thinking about like buying, you got to have a down payment of some kind. Where you find that money?
Sure.
So it's complicated.
So the Get Real event coming up on March 19th at Richland Center High School from 8 to 3:30. Volunteers, you'd like that? Maybe sponsors, you're kind of taking care of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else you'd like to add today, Sarah?
Just if you volunteer, you'll have a great time. So I really recommend it.
Sounds like a lot of fun, and it'll be interesting to hear some of the parting comments from the students too.
Definitely,
Maybe you can
definitely.
give us some of those
Oh, yeah.
those comments and an update at the
Yeah,
end.
100%. That'd be so fun.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sarah Kubiak organizing the Get Real event coming up on the 19th of March. And for more information, again, what was the phone number again?
Yeah,
Sarah?
so it's 608-647-6148.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, I appreciate it.